Thank you for joining me for my thoughts on Helstrom Season 1 Episode 7 Scars. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for everything MCU and adjacent leading up to and including when this first premiered, aired, whatever. And yeah, another episode I absolutely fucking loved. So I think so the let's start with the general stuff. So yeah, I thought this episode did a good job of this thing of by the end of the episode, we've seen both of the siblings as close to being like their father as they've seemingly been for, I guess, 2 decades. Obviously the fact that she put someone, well, let's see, she made someone faint 20 years ago, that not entirely unlike what the father would do, but yeah, that was back then, and now, yeah. I think, I guess that does more or less cover. I appreciate seeing the consequences of caretaker, going against the blood and the I guess that does cover the overarching yeah. So some scene by scene stuff. Yeah, in the opening we see, I can't fucking believe I forgot to mention this line, but it was obviously great when, or wait, fuck, did I mention it? God damn it, I can't remember shit these days. In my video on the episode before this one, I may have neglected to mention, but it's obviously great when Dr. Hastings outright apologized to Anna, saying, I should have taken you in. And, here we see the actual decision be made. And again, fantastic acting from the, child actors and such. The face when she uses telekinesis to, crack the I guess two-way mirror, maybe? Is it glass? Anyway, yeah. That was absolutely perfect. And yeah, I thought they did a good job on. I mean, there must be a little bit of CG de-aging for both actors, and I can believe that they could do that with their budget. It wasn't that many shots. It wasn't that much screen time that they would have to de-age. And yeah, goddamn, when the actual, he points out, they've been hunting her kind for years, and Hastings is like, well, what would the solution? What would their solution be? And he just gives her a look, and yeah, it doesn't have to be said, but yeah, holy shit. Adam Sandler movie marathon, god damn. There's just some things are just too cruel. No, obviously, yeah, they'd actually end her, which, fuck. Glad that they were able to prevent that, although Esther and some of the others obviously are not. And I think that might be what there is. But yeah, I do really appreciate them really underlining, yeah, she was dangerous. That's, obviously in real life, no one's quite as dangerous as, she can literally touch you and kill you. But there are children who end up in foster care and such the there is such a thing as children who have like what did they in this episode they said predilection towards violence. Think that might just about right. The next scene, yeah, it's about that time in the season. We got to have some conflict between some of the leads so that they can, yeah. But I thought it was well handled. It's one of those things where ideally you'll want it to arise out of character rather than be contrived. Yeah, I thought they did a really solid job on that. I genuinely did feel like this is how the two of them would react. She retreats into this thing of like trying to outsmart, trying to figure out how did this happen. And yeah, he is, blaming himself, feeling guilty. And yeah, I thought that they did a good job exploring, yeah, both of them were duped, by their respective opposite gender parent. Let's see, I guess or I guess, yeah, close enough, whatever. And yeah, she ends up just leaving. He points out that's a return to status quo. And the let's see. Right. Also, the point about when Anna, Jesus, when Anna tells Hastings that's where the H before the A came from. Stay out of this. This really only concerns our family, so mind your own business. And then he says, Hastings is my family. Which, like, I can't help but notice, and I'm sure Anna did as well, he didn't say, as much as you are. He said, she is my family, which, like, could heavily imply you are not. Obviously on account of the fact that she, one of the two of them has been there for Damon for 20 years, and it's that person's name does not rhyme with Anna. Yeah, she walks away, gets Yen on the way out, and he's like, sweet, you should get mad at your brother more often and sooner. And let's see, I think what was the next thing? I think it was around here where yeah, so Gabriella and Hastings, pretty sure it was the two of them talking, another good conversation. And yeah, Hastings walks off and Gabriella's alone out there, and really nicely done on that, because like ultimately it turns out no, it was just it wasn't someone trying to hurt Gabriella or anyone else, but because it's supernatural horror, like our first thought is like demon or something. And yeah, like just the thudding noise that's repeated, we know there's going to be some release at some point, and yeah, very, very nicely done. With the build up, I appreciate that they actually, that's the thing, a little bit more recently in the actual MCU also, they've been more willing to actually be scary, and I appreciate, early on they weren't going for being scary pretty much at all. But yeah, recently they've gotten good at that. We do see it much more here, especially at this point in the, back in 2020. But yeah, she opens and we see, yeah, she the wife of Keith, and yeah, you know, Damon, removes the demon, and let's see, yeah, um, they talk about why she was left in there, and that is also, yeah, I'm relieved that he didn't kill her. I genuinely thought that's what happened with the kiss of death. But yeah, let's see. I guess that pretty well covers that. I think the next thing may have been when right, and the point about how Damon was really physically he's exhausted from all the exercising of all the patients that were and that was also really that helps explain why he snaps at Anna. And it is also one of those things, like, at the end of the day, I think Anna is trying to regain some feeling of control, because, like, she's feeling as disempowered as when her father took her on the road to kill people, so this is something she really wants to get out of. And yeah, and his anxiety is triggered on, again, I use that unironically, the term triggered, because, like, listen, his life hasn't been perfect for the last 20 years, but at least his mom was right there. He could check in on her, and now he's Bazal knows where. She's Bazal knows what the fuck. Fuck that one up. Anyway, moving on. What's the other thing? Let's see. I think that might bring us to the okay, let's talk about the nightmare that Damon has. Really, really nicely done. The fucking squeaking, like, ugh. It triggers some anxiety. All right, that was the one thing. One more thing about that scene. Appreciate the show itself using the term triggered, and again, unironically. But yeah, yeah, we just hear the squeaking, and at first we don't know where it's coming from or what's making it, and then we see the chair, and then it's moving on its own, which is also, like, we don't like that. We want there to be a cause for something like that moving, at least. And then yeah, Mother is right there. I guess it's no longer Cathara, but the yeah, what is, god damn it, I'm slightly confused on which demon is where. Anyway, but yeah, the turns out to be a nightmare, and Gabriella says she had to wake him up because he seemed upset. I think that might be about where, so Anna and Yen are back in San Fran. Anna and Yen, San Fran, and yeah, the thing about I'm here for my phone charger. I wasn't doing work, and you shouldn't be either. And the thing about, yeah, she snaps at him, and he's like, Rage Monster Anna, is not something I want to deal with right now. So why don't you, feed her somewhere else or something like that, And um, yeah, he finds her at the computer and, slightly uncomfortable as she knows his login and everything. But I like the thing with, we have to lay low. Is it lay low or lie low? Don't think for 1 second that you can distract me with grammar, but yes, it's probably lie, because lay is a passive verb. And let's see. Oh, wait, shit. I guess that's... God damn it, I'm jumping. Okay, I'll return to that scene later, but... Okay, let's talk about... So yeah, that was another thing I feel pretty confident I fucked up and forgot to mention. I fucking love the eye thing, the way the eye like twitches in a way that's literally physically impossible, on that one particular possessed. And yeah, they try to get some information, and we again have the thing about the demons through the bodies they possess call Damon traitor, and by the end of the episode, it's really been underlined they could be genuinely dangerous. They could do evil, both of the siblings. And let's see, he tries to threaten the demon, and then the demon does some unlicensed self-chiropractic adjustment. And see, that's why you need to only get such from those who've had that actual training. That was seriously badass, though. That was a great, Jesus Christ, yeah. He spun around, did a full 180. Damn. All of his opinions just reversed. Flipped and reversed. Yes, so so Anna, the thing about, okay, so Derek is coming by for lunch later, so try to get yourself under control. And also, right, he tries to, he's like, well, I don't know, you said we were running a business. I'm trying to run a fucking business. I'm the only one being rational around here. That is also, at first I was thinking, is this really someone who's done evil? They don't look, this black woman doesn't look evil, which I don't know. Some of the other people that she's killed, they did kind of look like they might be dangerous, And yeah, right. So let's talk about, so I like caretaker putting out, really, hood over the head. Aren't you being a little dramatic? And then they actually did it right before they arrived too. So yeah, they really are being dramatic. I don't know, maybe they were really worried that they would end up really empathizing with him, maybe talking about which sport they prefer. He could put on what I'm told is a not very convincing English accent. Is that enough? He could share an image of his girlfriend with the words, she's my type. Yeah, at this point, everyone who's going to get it got it. But Esther says, well, you're going to have to help us, and he won't say which knife was the one that can hurt the Helstrom family. I guess we're doing this the hard way. And he takes a knife and starts cutting him Jesus, that first one felt personal because, like, when it actually reacts, she barely has to touch it to the wound. That first knife, she's like cutting, like, yeah, she makes an actual cut there. She doesn't just touch the knife to the wound. That's like a fuck you, don't betray us kind of thing, you know. Which, like, I appreciate because that's good for the show to handle it like that, because that makes them feel like organized crime, which, I mean, sort of are they? Because I guess they're not that, right? And yeah, I really appreciate that because, like, Caretaker, we pretty quickly felt like, okay, he's, I don't know if he's like good. Like, is anyone on the show good? Like, this anti-hero rather than villain, at least. But then we meet the blood, and we're introduced to the others of the blood, and we see the, you know, comas and all this. And now they're, you know, yeah, like, the more we learn about them, the more off-putting they become, which I quite appreciate. And at the same time, like, I can sort of understand, like, it's, again, yeah, I mentioned when talking about the comas, like, imperfect solutions to complex problems. I mean, I can understand how they, you know, from a certain point of view, that is what they're doing with the Hellstroms. It's, you know, it's not perfect, but it's mine. I'm not quite sure I've worked out how to work it. I often try to fill it with wine. Okay, that's got to be enough for people to get that if they are familiar with that particular piece of media. Yes, I think, yes, let's talk some more about, so, lunch. And yeah, Anna goes up and, wow, like, you know, Yen straight up says, told you about lunch, so I don't know why you're being weird. Anna, stop. And Anna is like, is this going to take long? Yeah, I think I'm going to reverse the order of the lines. And Derek, big fan of Derek. He's a great character. You know, he's like, you know, in my line of work, I see a lot of stress. It makes people behave in completely unacceptable ways, like the way you're talking to Chris right now. Just because, like, I'm sorry, is he wrong? Could you please point to where he's in any way inaccurate? Like, yes, it's stress. The way she's behaving is completely unacceptable. Like, just like every step of the way, it's just, yeah. And then he says, you know, maybe you should go work out. You know, yeah, release some tension. You know, I like to hit the heavy bag at work. And that's, of course, why she ends up logging in, because that's how she relieves stress. And Derek shows up, which, yeah, see, it's all well and good that you can log on to the criminal database, but if you are doing so away from the actual police station, that could be a problem. See, that's, if you're going to be a serial killer, it can help if you are actually working for law enforcement. And I love the little, you know, closing of the laptop, and, you know, yeah, he points out, you know, I have to, you know, report this. I'm responsible for every single log in to the And that's also something I quite appreciate, because earlier I wasn't even thinking about, exactly the ins and outs of this, the whole thing, finding people for her to, that she then kills. But yeah, I mean, how would you do it without the police database? I mean, yeah, she also gets close and like scans them, but she can't do that with every single person she encounters. That's not economical. So yeah, that's how they've been doing it. And of course, eventually he's going to notice that. Um, yeah, the thing that went wrong was that he logged on at work when they were logging on, you know, from Yen's. So yeah, that is it's one of those things. I can believe that they used to be extremely careful, because that was the thing. Right now we have to lie low. Um, but yeah, usually they were careful to choose, because I don't know, maybe usually he would check when he knew Derek was asleep. Oh wait, maybe he would. No, he says that he was the one who logged on. Yeah, it would have to be at times when he knew that Derek was maybe asleep, or maybe out, like what's the word, like yeah, driving, so not logged on. Or wait, would he still be logged on? Do they have that on? I don't know. But yeah, cybersecurity these days, yeah, you can see who logged on where. Yeah. And I think that does. Yeah, let's do some more with the we see that let's see. Yeah, they end up finding the knife, which we also see in flashback. Anna, he tried to force her to use it, and they did such a great job editing that, because yeah, at first, like, I was thinking, oh shit, he actually made her use it, but then we realized, oh, she stabbed him with it, which is, I think, why it, because he, if I understand correctly, that's why it can hurt Hellstrom's. I think that might bring us to the right. And the phone call was also great. Yeah. Esther talks to Damon, and expresses disapproval of the goddamn, what's it called again? The coma facility. And the yeah, that's how, it's through that phone call that he finds out that they were purposefully separated. And Hastings, she says, I'm sorry, I should have told you. And she also, like, admits, yeah. I thought that was really, really great of a scene. And yeah, Anna, she picks up the she breaks a lot of shit this episode. Like, goddamn, at least it's her own. I appreciate that. But fuck, I'm sounding like one of those yeah, one of those conservative talking heads who value property over human lives. Just wanted to make absolutely clear that is not the case. I just thought it was a funny. It's a trope. It's a Hollywood thing. Show a character's upset by having them break something, and they do it twice in one episode. That's all. I think, right. Also, the 20 years ago thing at the first scene. Could she hear them, or was she just like, because she seemed like she didn't yeah, I don't know. It felt a little like there might be something like that there. Yes, that brings us nicely to, so the let's see. Yeah, Damon calls and agrees to meet. It's also sad that he thinks that Caretaker was purposefully MIA rather than kidnapped. Right, I really love the thing with, you're not catching me in a very chatty mood. That's never happened, by the way. She's really great. She's growing on me. Resisting the urge to reference to mention twice in one video. Okay, I think I overcame it. And but yeah, so he drives them there, and he asks, "There's no way I'm getting you to stay in the car, right?" And like, I love, she doesn't even answer that, verbally at least, but her nonverbal response is very clear. She opens the door as like, obviously I'm coming in, and then her face is like, motherfucker, how many times are we gonna have to do this? I don't stay in the car. I never stay in the car. Stop asking. It's not happening. And goddamn, Anna following Derek, and like, we get this really bad feeling, this pit in the pit of our stomach, something like that, because like, she only has so many moves. I'm pretty sure this is the hug fu one, and very temporary relief when, like, obviously he's eventually gonna, like, she's walking too close to him, and also like, I'm pretty sure they do, ACAB obviously, but they do train cops to recognize if they're being followed, because that could happen, so he, he turns, he doesn't walk away, and very temporary relief when she said, I was the one who, shit, what's it called again? The login, So it sounds like she's saying, she's just like, leave Chris out of it. He had no idea, which is a lie, but it's also, seemingly maybe she is actually, giving some of herself instead of taking, because she can sometimes take. And I know I've mentioned it before, I really appreciate how her character is actually allowed to be this more like, she actually makes mistakes. She gets the level of complexity that too often is only given to male characters, very often cishet white ones. We run a progressive channel here. We support women's rights and women's wrongs. That's part of the reason I fucking love the 3 seasons of Jessica Jones. But I think that pretty well brings us to the, let's see. Shit. The, Right, yes. So yeah, it sounds like it, but then we realize, oh shit, because she says, can we hug it out? Which is one of those things like, okay, he's not the founder of the Anna Helstrom fan club, but like, I'm sorry, what kind of asshole is going to say no at that point? Like, she's bearing her heart and soul to him, and he does want things to work, he, like, they're gonna be seeing each other every so often, you know. But yeah, like my heart sank 3 sizes. I was genuinely like, oh no, 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 Anna, don't. And the hug, and we see the flashback, you know, and we see him like gasping, you know, it's like, oh fuck. And they do the CG on like her knuckles. You know, she's starting to his soul is hers. And the flashback shows, you know, she refused to stab. Um, you know, those were not defensive wounds at all. And she, well, fuck that one up. No, no. Yes, moving on. Um, and you know, she did run away. And so she stops. You know, she lets go of the hug, and it's like, are you okay? Like, God damn it, Anna. I mean, obviously she's not gonna admit what just happened, but anyway. And yeah, he's going to be okay. Like I've if I understand correctly, basically as long as she stops before the person is dead, yeah, you know, the person will recover. They just like he says he's gonna woozy there for a second. You know, he doesn't like collapse, for example. So yeah, and one of the fucking flashbacks, Jesus Christ. Like they really don't fuck around with how dark this show gets, and I'm fucking here for it. So what transpired after she stabbed her father and ran away is that he caught her and buried her alive, and then caretaker came and, you know, got her out of there. So when she's been having those fucking nightmares about being buried alive and having like worms in her mouth and shit, those are fucking like I mean I forget if I've already mentioned, you know, like yeah, it's PTSD, you know, this thing of like feeling like the flashback thing, you know. I thought that it was like um the reason it was like death based was, you know, well, her father's come back and he's killing people, but nope, she actually experienced that, and every so often she wakes up from a PTSD flashback of being buried again. Like, Jesus, no wonder she is such a harsh person. Um, and that she's so dedicated to, you know, stopping their father again. This time once and for all. But yeah, you know, we again have this thing of like, could she become like her father? Could she become the abuser? Which, you know, I already mentioned, but just to reiterate, you know, that is something a number of people who grow up in abusive households fear, and sadly for some it does end up happening, and for a number of the ones where it does happen, it absolutely eats them up inside. So she returns, you know, and oh, actually, no, yeah, I'll just briefly talk about it. So yeah, I'll uh, I think I've said almost everything I wanted to. So I'm just briefly gonna note the thing of right. I like the thing about how he gives a fucking history lesson. Like, oh, that's not the right one. See, when you cut me, I can certainly feel it, but it doesn't burn the like it's supposed to. It's fake, and you know, it was like, you know, it was from Baghdad, it's a fake of a Baghdad knife, something like that. Just Jesus Christ. Which, like, total power move. Like he's like, oh, I'm actually pretty unbothered by. Are you gonna be cutting me all day? Because like I kind of do have a place to be. I don't know. I'm sorry if you're gonna be cutting me all day long. I at least want to explain to you about the knives that you're cutting me with. But yeah, Damon also the closest he's been. I mean, I appreciate, he had to. It's one of those things. They were attacking him, so one can understand him attacking back. Still a pretty intense way to go about it. He does not merely because like I feel like, okay, use the telekinesis to get the knife and pistol out of their hands and then warn them that if they draw another weapon, that too shall be their fate. But instead he and that was also, holy shit, when it almost stabbed, like that was really, really intense. And the yeah, if I understand correctly, he was using telekinesis to stop the knife from going in. And the mark on, so yeah, like, I mean, I knew it already, but it's now we have confirmation. Yeah, his dad fucking cut a symbol into his chest, and all these years later, it's still there and had fucking lit up like a firecracker. That was yeah. And yeah, like I really appreciate that by the end of that scene, I'm not sure if he's back to normal or if he's like embracing this, because like there's that thing about, well, the power feels good. Yeah, I think, but yeah, and great. Love these practical effects on, like, I'm not 100% sure of all, but at least one of those, that was a stunt person with actual fire. Like, yeah, really, really well done on that. Because that's, if you have the time, yeah, it is doable. We have the technology for the gel, and the I'm not good at explaining it, but yeah, for setting a stunt person on fire, we can do that today in a way that is fairly safe. And yeah, Esther standing there like, Jesus, I thought you were gonna bring me a Helstrom, not a scanner. I should definitely talk at least a little bit about. I really loved seeing. So, goddamn, the the priest, like, you can sort of make out that there's blood on his hand even before, but at one point, like, he grabs, was a door handle or something, and some of the blood drips off. So, like, yeah, fresh blood. And then he says, oh, I got some medicine from this, like, I mean, he killed a drug dealer, basically, so yeah. I think that might just about, yeah. And the symbol, by the end of the episode, yeah, that's definitely the symbol carved into Damon's chest. So they're thinking of, like, using him for, god damn it, maybe host. That's, oh god. Anyway, then we have the I I talked about how certainly some of what was, going on with, I think in this episode they refer to him as Bazaar, um, which I don't know, maybe some. He's not the least bizarre creature. At least some of that in the episode before this one had to be CG. I really appreciate I don't know if all of it is. It's possible there's some CG here, but certainly at least some of what we're seeing with Bazaar in this episode is practical. And I appreciate because like there's so many shots of the yeah Bazaar, and they need it's good to have physical presence because there's like a number of shots where like mother is like touching him, and that just works. If you can do it if you have enough money and time, but so far the CG on the show hasn't been like 100% amazing 100% of the time. But yeah, I really appreciate that they went for a practical effect there. And they give him a decent amount of level of what's the word? I I do think the hand that draws the symbol is probably a real person hidden. And with like a couple of fingers taped and covered with prosthetics to make it look like the hand is anyway. But the yeah, um, the level, the range of movement is pretty good. The head does yeah, moves and has some expression. Really really great job on that animatronic. Um, yeah. Um, goddamn. Really really excited. Yeah, I'll do another episode very soon. I've learned not to set an exact date. Yeah. Let's see. I think that brings us to the yes. So I did want to talk about so yeah. After Anna decides not to go through with it, that was also I definitely wanted to mention Yen talking about. So he met her way back then. I forget if that's been mentioned, but yeah, he knows her from way back in the foster home, and yeah, he realized, oh, this she killed someone there, and he describes it as justice. So he isn't really against what she's doing, which okay, we already knew that, but still good to have it reiterated. He just thinks they have to be smart about it. That's all, because he doesn't want them to get caught. But yeah, and sadly, some people who work in, for example, foster care, in social, yeah, carer roles. Sadly, some of them are predators. Um, and yeah, I mean, don't like immediately suspect it of every carer that you run into, but if someone in care confides in you that they've been abused, your natural instinct should be to believe them, because sadly there are some people doing that. But yeah, I quite appreciate it. So he says that early in the episode, and then near the end of the episode, she almost does something that is very much not justice. So but yeah, he she smashes the little thing full of the what are they called again? The trophies that her father gave her, and yeah, he comes up to her. She says, "I almost did it," and he tries to comfort her and relate, and it's probably a good thing that she doesn't say exactly what it is she almost did. That is also when he said earlier, I just came here for my phone charger. I thought he was going to say I quit, but yeah, um, you know, she says I almost went through with it, and he says I don't know exactly what it is you did. It's probably good, but the word almost means that you didn't. This guy in grammar, Jesus Christ.